Morning, good to see you. All right. Morning, it's Thursday, January 3rd, the fifth day of the Parshas Shemos. This week's Parsha is the beginning of the story of the Jews. This story of the Jews is the quintessential, is that the word? Whatever it is. It's a cute word, that's all I know. Quintessential story of the Jewish people. It is so important that it is actually...
Yeah,
of course.
Would you like some coffee? No, I just had some.
We take credit cards, cash, stocks, bonds, government indentures.
I'll take the first one, son, too.
Right, we'll take that too. So I was saying that this week's portion it talks about the Jews. Trials and tribulations and horrible things that happened to them in Egypt, but what's the name of the book? The name of this book is Shemos, names, and in English we've given it another name. We've given it Exodus, and that's what's important, that we left. You know, the fact that we were there was only a process. And there are many reasons given why Jews, 600,000 of them, adults, 600,000 left Egypt, and that's just male adults between 20 and 60. In total, there were 3 million that left. I don't know the number of how many were actually killed in Egypt in those 210 years. But they say 4/5 died in the desert. So I don't know if there is a number for how many were there. 70 started out with 70, and they left. There were 3 million people who left, and
some of them were the mixed multitudes, though.
Right. And they stood at Mount Sinai when God gave the Torah. So let's just concentrate on the name that's given. I'm a little tired today, as you guys can see.
That's right.
I was actually thinking of possibly canceling today.
You should have it.
But I was a little tired. So I'm just going to do some very light stuff today. So the name of the portion of this week is Shemos, names. So Rashi says, it starts off with Ve'ela Shemos B'nai Yisrael Haboim Mitzrayim Is Yaakov Ishu Beis Habo. So it means, and these are the names of the children of Israel who were coming to Egypt along with Jacob, each man in his house. So the first thing is we have to talk about is why it starts off with and these are the names. Like, you don't start off a sentence with and. Usually, it's acceptable now. But there was a time it was forbidden. Nowadays, writers do start off with the word and. But certainly, if you can start off a sentence with and, you cannot ever start off a paragraph with and. That never happens. And you certainly can't start off a book with and. But the Torah, this starts off with and. So usually when the Torah uses the word ve'ela and these words, Rashi makes a comment that it's referring to something previously. So if the Torah is talking about something and then it says and da-da-da, so Rashi comments it's referring to what was written previously. Here Rashi doesn't say that. He's pretty hard-pressed to say what was written previously. This is the beginning of a new book, So, and if it's connected to something previously, then it shouldn't have been the beginning of a new book. Then it should have been continued.
It's a new book of the Torah, though. It's continuous. There's no delineation in
Very good question. because so it must be that it was divinely decreed that this should be separated into 5 books. There probably is a better answer, but it must be. It's not like the verses. You can ask about the verses in the Torah. If you look in the Torah, it's not separated by numbers. So who made up the numbers? And more than that, who made up the parshos? The parshio, that this is Cohen, Levi. No. Who made up the portions? Now, who made up the portions of the week? Those are separated in the Torah.
Are they?
Yeah, they're separated by lines and spaces, with the exception of
The one we just did.
very good,
Yeah.
the one we just did. Vaychi,
Remember
this past week's parsha Vaychi is not separated from the one before that. It's close together, with the exception of just like
It's a closed portion.
it's a close parsha. So we spoke about that. And David Richter Tad was still up at the time. So now Rashi says, we'll get back to that in a second. Rashi says these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. List the names. So Rashi is bothered by. We just did that. We just gave all the names in the previous portion, or in 2 portions ago rather. It lists all the 70 souls, the 70 people who came to Mitzrayim. Why does he list them again now? Just did it.
Yeah.
So anybody have an answer?
One question is, are they exactly the same? Is it written
Exactly.
the same?
Really?
Exactly.
I don't know.
In fact, he's only listing for these purposes. Right now, here in the first pasuk, he's only listing the 12 tribes. Now, we certainly know the names of the 12 tribes. He wouldn't have to. He wouldn't have to list those again. Anybody who's smarter than a 5th grader would know the names of the 12 tribes. So Rashi gives the answer that because Hashem loved them, therefore he recounted them. And Rashi says that even though when they were alive, 2 weeks ago they were still alive, the 12 tribes. They were standing before their brother Yosef in Egypt, and at that point the Torah mentions them by name. So even though that the Torah counted them when they were alive with their names, he counted them again here in this week's parsha when they all died. At this point in time, all the tribes were not alive anymore. The first tribe to die was the first one of the 12 tribes. Was anybody can guess?
The oldest one?
Issachar.
The oldest one, Reuben?
No, but that would be, you would think
Yeah.
that would be it. Yeah, the first one to die was actually Yosef. Yeah, he died, he was 110 years old. The one who lived the shortest amount of time was, I believe, Binyamin. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he lived, I know there is it's either lived 90 years or 109 years. I don't remember. Good morning, Doc. The one that lived the longest was Levi. He lived to be 137. The last one to die, not necessarily the one that lived the longest, but the last one to die, this is just trivia, because I'm sure you're going to be asked these questions at some point today.
It's interesting to know.
So the last one to die is Naphtali. Yeah.
Okay.
We actually know the birthdays and the day they died of each one of the tribes. And I'm always puzzled how come we don't do anything for that, or for the same reason for some of the major people, Moshe Rabbeinu, your side, and he died in the same day as he was born. That everybody knows, and it's celebrated.
But the others no.
But the others, including Yosef, any other of the tribes, we don't make a big thing out of it. I don't know why.
Were any of the others die on the same day they were born, or no?
Most of them,
Really?
yeah, if not all of them. Yeah, because Hashem, somebody who's a big tzaddik, Hashem, they live and they're born and die on the same day because Hashem gives them full years. And in order to have a full year, you have to die on your birthday. So the answer that I once heard that was given is that every word in the Torah is really God's name. It just manifests itself in different ways, in different computations, in different ways. So ve'ela, it's going back, it's telling you, and, in other words, everything we did till now were all names of God, and these are the names, these are those God's names that came to Egypt with the children of Yaakov. So what does it mean? What it means is, like we said yesterday, that God himself came to Egypt along with the Jews. That we have this thing, and I said this yesterday, it's a little repeat of yesterday, that when one Jew is in trouble, another Jew should feel the pain too, and certainly when a Jew is in trouble or having pain or is in a time of tzara, then Hashem is with him. Anochi imo b'tzora. I am with you in your troubles. And that's why I said, and I'm going to just add a little bit to it, but I'll repeat what I said yesterday. It says they came to Mitzrayim. It doesn't say le Mitzrayim, to Mitzrayim. It says Mitzrayim. And maybe Rashi here also says it. No, it doesn't. But whenever a word ends with a hey, it's as if it's had a lamed in the beginning. So it could have said that they came to Mitzrayim. Instead, it says it came to Mitzrayim, which also means to Mitzrayim. And they say the reason it uses this form of the word is because the gematria of it is 385 Mitzrayim, and Shechina, God's divine presence, is also 385, and that's how it alludes that the Shechina was with the Jews in Mitzrayim. They ask another question, or rather, they give another answer why it says Mitzrayim, because if you know how the letters are written, can you all visualize the letter, the word Mitzrayim? Let me show you. See, there are two letters of mem. There is haboim. This is a final m, and the letter afterward is the regular m, right?
Okay.
So, right. And I'm referring to the word Mitzrayim, right, that it should have said Mitzrayim, and this m should have been a final one.
Right.
So, but if you notice the shape of the final M is almost a circle. It's closed.
Right.
If you're inside, you can't get out.
Right.
This Mitzrayim has a little opening. You see that?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
That's cool.
in fact, they say the difference between a hey. They say the difference between a hey and a chet
Right.
is the little opening on top.
Right.
So, for those people that were watching this on camera, that you couldn't see this. But you did get a good shot of my belly. So anyway, so they say that the reason Hashem picked this word Mitzrayim here because why was it called Mitzrayim? The word Mitzrayim actually means, literally the word Mitzrayim means border, that it was completely surrounded border. You couldn't get out. Okay, once you got in, you couldn't get out. So That's why if you take the word Mitzrayim, the first mem has an opening, you can get in, but you can't get out. But here, Hashem is telling us that you're going to get out. That's why it doesn't end it over here. That they came, Haboim, they came, Mitzrayim, they came to Mitzrayim, but I left you an opening at the end. And after 210 years, you will get out.
That's very cool. Wow. Every little thing I know.
So in fact, it not only doesn't use the final mem, it uses the mem which has the opening, but then it further ends it with a hey, which is the ultimate word for opening. And that's why Hashem's name has two of them, Yud Kei, Vav Kei, because Hashem is open to you for you to come in and for you to go out in the world and to spread His name. And so that's so this word ends with both the opened mem and of course the opened hey. Now, so Rashi says, as I said before, that it gives you, it not only gives you the count of the Jews, but it gives you the names, and this is a lesson that we should learn, and we all know this, that when you speak to someone, if you refer to them by their name, it's a complete different. If somebody walks in and I say good morning, it's a nice thing. But if somebody walks in, I say, hey, good morning, Bob. It's a totally different feeling, whether it's with your spouse or even. I remember my parents, when they used to call me, if they called me by my name, it meant something special. If they, if they just said, my father could have told me, can you get me a glass of water? Or he would say, Mendel, can you get me a glass of water? It meant so much differently. Rabbi Fox likes to tell the joke that there was once this young couple who went to a restaurant, and they see an older couple having dinner. So the older gentleman tells his wife, "Sweetie, can you pass me a napkin?" And a few minutes later, he says, "Honey, can you pass me the salt?" And a few minutes later, he said, "Dear, would you give me that fork?" And this young man is so impressed, and he walks over to this older gentleman. He says, "How long have you guys been married?" He says, "Oh, we're married 60 years." He says, "It's so nice that after so many years, you're still calling her by such endearments." So he goes, "I have to. I forgot her name." I'm sure you all heard it, but that actually happened. I heard this in the name of Moshe Feinstein, or he repeated the story, but it either happened to him or he was there when it happened. That there was once this big tzaddik, and again, I don't know if it was him or he's relating the story about another tzaddik that was introduced to a dignitary, and he had his wife there, and when they're shaking hands, the dignitary says, "I'm Colonel this and this," or "I'm President this and this." So he goes, "I'm Moshe Feinstein, and this is," and he turns to his wife, and he forgot his wife's name. He was in trouble for that. So he had to say, "This is my wife," but that's not really the most polite way to say it. You should give the first name of the person that you're introducing to, or you say, "This is my wife," whatever her name was.
Could he shake her hand?
What?
Can he shake her hand?
Well, yeah. You're not supposed to shake a woman's hand, but first of all, if it's going to insult her if you don't, or if you think it's going to cause problems for Jews, that people can say, "Oh, the Jew didn't want to shake my hand," you better shake the hand. A lot of people, I see Rabbi Rapport handles it very, very well. He'll introduce somebody, and the woman will reach out his hand. He goes, "Pleasure to meet you." He shakes his hand. He shakes his head. "Pleasure to meet you." In our religion, we don't shake hands with people of the opposite gender. I've seen him do it many times, and it's never been a problem. So at that time, the wife realized what happened, so she right away covered, and she goes, "He's been calling me honey or dear for 50 years. He probably doesn't even remember my name anymore." So the lesson is that if you call somebody by a name, it means a lot. And this is what Hashem is doing. He's actually calling us out by name, and it shows us. And this is what Rashi says, that it shows His love for us, that He keeps calling us by the name. Should we stop? Okay.
But that's good, and I love that.
Have a good Shabbos, everybody, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
Mendy.